What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sakina, and I'm back with another review. This is my review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 17, episode, I think 15. Yes, 15. So let's go ahead and get into it. As you can see, your girl is not on camera because I am in my luteal phase, okay? The menstrual is about to come in a few days, and the energy is just low. So, hey, take me as I am. Anyway, yes, back to the review. Also, do not forget that we are on the road to 7K. So if you enjoy the content, make sure that y'all support me. Make sure y'all like the video, y'all comment. Shout out to all the new subscribers. If you have not watched the replay of last night's Whether You Like It or Not panel, make sure that y'all go over to Busy Blue's channel. He was hosting last night. Shout out to all the new subscribers I got from the panel yesterday. Make sure y'all get down in the comments and tell me that y'all are here. I want to hear y'all's commentary, your thoughts, and all of those good things. Okay, somebody in the chat got on me yesterday about how I'm not promoting me getting to 7K enough. You're absolutely right. So, yes, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. You know, I love y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment. And I will also say the views for last week's episode was higher than typical. So, let's keep that momentum going. Now, I typically would be on camera, but also another reason, my hair looks a mess. I want to wash my hair. It's just not going to be today. The fro has to come back. I'm so tired of the silk press, but let's get into it. Okay, so it picks up where it left off last week with Shamia and Kelly leaving the restaurant after Shamia blew up the spot about Porsha's mama allegedly wanting to smash her father. So it looks like Shamia and Kelly got a room. And Kelly is telling Shamia, don't let anybody steal your shine. People talk about peace and being transformed, but at the end of the day, hurt people. You've kept things bottled up between you and Porsha. And so Shamia is like, I just shut down. That's easier to walk away. She said that's why it's so hard to confront somebody that you love and care about, because she's careful of other people's feelings other than hers. And that's your problem, Shamia. You need to learn how to put yourself first. And I think her tagline is in relation to that too. Like, girl, start speaking up for yourself. I think it's a fine line, right? Because I'm also watching The Ultimatum on Netflix. I actually finished all the episodes on Sunday. But there's this one girl, I think her name is Ashley, and she doesn't speak up or stick up for herself. And so in her new couple, she's being promoted to speak for herself and advocate and all of that. So once she goes back to her man, she's sticking up for herself. But I also feel like there's a way to go about it. Like, it just kind of seemed like she was going all in. For anybody who watches The Ultimatum, I think y'all can understand where I'm coming from. It's like, just like Shamia, like, yeah, you're saying that you're learning how to speak up for yourself, but you also have to know, like, the times, the place, the delivery, those type of things. Like, those things are really big factors when it comes down to communication. And so I feel like Shamia missed the mark. But in her confessional, she's saying that she considered Porsha as a sister, and she was hoping that they would find their way back to each other. But after, the night at the restaurant, that'll never happen. And so she's telling Kelly that Porsha will never meet a friend like her. She's real cool on her. And so we then see Kelly, because the scenes were bouncing around, but I'm listing all that happened in this one scene together. I'm not hopping around. But we see Kelly then telling Shamia that she needs to go out, because we see the rest of the girls that were left at the restaurant, they end up going out. Remember, Porsha said that they was going to be doing club, another club, all that stuff. Yeah, they hitting the town. And so, baby, the blacks are out in Scotland. Remember, they have a coordinator who is black, and he took them. I don't know if this is a black club in Scotland, or they just, he curated this event for black people to attend this spot. But I think the spot was called Coco. With a name like that, I hope it's full of cocoa colored people. Anyway, yeah, so they're out and they look like they're having a good time. Pinky said it looked like Black History Month in Scotland. But we see Kay on the mic, and she starts singing her song, VSOP. Hey, okay, we gonna light some candles tonight. Very special. Okay. She was singing it to Phaedra. She then goes on, like, basically this Housewives music tour, because she then says, we playing this next song for some delusional bitches and some delusional men. And she was requesting, she's obviously not requesting this. People in Scotland don't know nothing about no Delulu. They probably know more about K. Michelle music than Drew's, no shade. But yeah, they actually play Delusional, and Drew gets on the mic and she sings. I said, okay, this is progression, because really I thought that K. Michelle was throwing shade at Drew. So to see that they were playing her song, I thought that was really cute. And so Shamia and Kelly stroll in the spot. You know, they all happy and dancing and all of that. So Porsha sees them and immediately leaves the area that they're in. The rest of the girls are very shocked that Shamia is there. You have Angela in her confessional saying, what the fuck is happening? You just said that this girl's mother was trying to sleep with your father, and here you are dancing in her face. I didn't see her dancing in her face, but I wasn't there. Whatever. Phaedra in her confessional is saying to imply someone's trying to do something sexually inappropriate. I'm glad that Porsha wasn't on that Henny, basically, because things could have went like, hey, Phaedra, you don't have the space to talk about anybody implying sexual inappropriateness, okay? You don't have the space to talk about what people are discussing that is inappropriate. Don't even go there. So Kay plays Shamia's song, Never Had. And by this time, Porsha really gathers her things and exits stage left. And in her confessional, she's saying, I can't be around somebody who will go so low, be so disgusting for me and my growth I've had. And what she say? And how the God in me has arisen. Porsha, since when? Like, when people start talking, like, yeah, Porsha was doing a lot of preachy speeches and all of that last week, and it was very performative. It was very fake. Like, you're not a changed person. And she keeps trying to convince everybody that she's changed. Just because you're paying Shamia dust, it does not mean that you've elevated to a certain level. No, we see that you are getting people to do your dirty work, essentially, but whatever. I just feel like Porsha's not above it. And this season really showed that she's really on the same shit. So Kay then gets the DJ to play Flatline. I know Porsha's song. And Porsha was nowhere to be found because she was leaving along with Angela, Drew, Cynthia, and Phaedra. So before they get in the car, we see the minions convene. We see Angela talking to Drew, and she was like, what Shamia did was intentional. And Drew was like, you walked in after that just happened to someone that you call a best friend for decades. Porsha would have did the same shit. Like, shut the fuck up. Because let's not forget, why you trying to sit there and cape for Porsha? She is the same one that was insinuating you was sleeping with her baby daddy so you can get in the booth, bitch. Like, let's not even do all of that. Like, whatever. Yeah, Porsha would have did the same thing if the roles were reversed. So Shamia, Kelly, Pinky, I feel like somebody else was there. Shamia, Kelly, Pinky, K. Michelle, they're all having a conversation. They're still in the club. And Shamia is like, everybody left when my song was playing. And she says she was disappointed that the other girls left because she doesn't have any smoke for them. But she ends up apologizing to the remaining ladies. Listen, we already know that there is a video that's going around from Angela showing that the girls were still there when Shamia was singing her song. We see that Cynthia said the same thing later in the episode. So we know that it was an edited thing. But what we do know is that the ladies who left together. And it was a clear divide on the reason why they left, because their team Porsha. And I found it extremely so motherfucking lame that the other girls left as if Shamia did something to them. At the end of the day, yes, it's very uncomfortable. I'm not going to act like it's not, and that it's not, you know, like, damn, this is kind of awkward that Shamia is here after she just, you know, caused all of that chaos and commotion at dinner. But at the end of the day, bitch, y'all don't own the motherfucking club. Porsha don't own the club. Shamia is there on vacation just like y'all. And just because she had a spat with Porsha, that doesn't mean that should stop her show. So I'm not mad that Shamia showed up, but it is awkward. Like, girl, yeah, you did get the party started. Now you want to sit up here and dance and stuff like nothing happened. But again, I am very sure that Porsha would have did the same thing. So again, those girls are clearly up Porsha's ass, and that's exactly where they want to be. Lame assholes. Anyway, it's the next day. Phaedra wants to take some of the girls out to the cemetery. So we see her talking to Porsha about that. She wants to take Cynthia, Kelly, and Shamia to the cemetery because really Phaedra wants to get Shamia alone so they can have a conversation. And in her confessional, Porsha said that she wanted to move forward with Shamia, but Shamia wanted to be a snake in the grass and wait for the perfect time to trigger her. At this point, she's telling Phaedra that she's going to match energies and she's going to continue the conversation. But Phaedra was like, I mean, it might not be the time to do that. But Porsha feels like Shamia sabotaged yet another trip. Sabotage what? Because if you're talking about Dallas, the real person who sabotaged Dallas was K. Michelle. That was the one who was being a Debbie Downer, doing the most, feeling like people was after her, but not wanting to say what, boo, boo, boo. Like, Shamia definitely had bad timing when it came down to the gala and wanted to have that conversation in her thong bikini, yes. But when it came down to who really just put a damper on the trip, it was K. Michelle in my eyes. But Porsha said that she would take the remaining girls on a spa day on the property. So we get into the girls on the way to the cemetery. Phaedra doesn't tell the girls where they were going until they actually were on the way. No, you need to tell me where the hell we going, because I would have opted out of going to a cemetery, but I do not want to do that. Like, what's the point? I don't know nobody there. I don't know. Like, that's just not somewhere I want to visit. And so Kelly is like, she wants to know why everybody left so fast when they got to the club. And Cynthia said that she was there during Shamia's song, and she said that what Shamia accused Porsha, this is what Cynthia saying in her confessional, what Shamia accused Porsha's mom of was out of pocket, and she ruined any chance of them making up. And so during the car ride, Shamia apologizes to Phaedra for ruining the dinner, and she wants to give more context to how things actually started to fester. She said that Porsha made that public post about her mom doing something egregious. And so she's like, damn, you talking about my mom? And so the opportunity presented itself at dinner. And, you know, they both got the sling and mud. I said what I said, and she went to hell. Shamia, that she took it to hell. I don't know about all of that, because if you ask me, I feel like both accusations were pretty equivalent. Trying to sleep with your best friend's man, egregious. Sleeping with your man's brother, egregious. Like, what do you mean? Both y'all slinging mud, y'all was doing the same thing to each other. And this is another thing that I brought up on the panel yesterday, because some people feel like Porsha is the one that got this whole parent conversation started with Miss Diane saying, don't trust the dog that carried the bone or whatever. But in my opinion, like, I see where people are coming from with that. I feel like parents give advice to their children just to look out for certain people, X, Y, and Z. When she said that, I could consider that a blanketed statement, just, again, parental advice. Or, you know, some people could be like, that's weird that she's saying that about Shamia. I know I was one of those people who was like, that's odd for her to say about her best friend. But I didn't put too much into it. I feel like when Shamia met up with Cynthia, she made people more intrigued and gave more insight on there being issues. With her saying, yeah, it goes deeper, even down to our parents. Like, it's kind of like she breadcrumbed the situation. Like, you know, now we want to know, especially after hearing Miss Diane say what she said. Now, Shamia is giving it legs by saying that there was some issues between the parents. So now the audience, we want to know, like, girl, what's tea? Because we didn't know nothing about this. Like, hold on, what's going on? So for me, I feel like Shamia did start this whole thing. She started at the table, and she started it with bringing up the parents. At the end of the day, baby, you got to take accountability for that, Shamia, because you got a party started at the table and walked out crying and all of that when you the one who said that at the wrong time, and you also are the one who mentioned the parents, which is the reason why Porsha said the whole egregious post in the first place. So, sorry, I gotta be honest about that. And so Phaedra was saying that family can be triggering. I don't think that it was appropriate for the group to know that kind of stuff. Hello? And that was my biggest gripe with Shamia. You keep complaining about, oh, the group is saying this, the group is saying that. Stay out of me and Porsha's business, blah, blah, blah. But you went and said some big shit. A big-ass accusation in front of everybody. You already know y'all are going to be the topic of discussion when you're not around. When you are around, people are going to ask where you are with Porsha, yada, yada. So, girl, you can't say that you don't want them in the business, but bringing beef to the table. In her confessional, Phaedra was saying that Shamia has been stirring the pot. First, she told Pinky that she's the one who said she eat meat. We know that that wasn't true. She then says she told Angela's daughter something inappropriate, which, of course, production flashed it back, and we already know what Shamia said was not inappropriate. All she said was, you're nicer than your mom. So Phaedra is like, basically, Shamia is the one that's keeping up the mess. At the end of the day, you got that one thing right with the whole meat eating thing, but okay, whatever. Shamia just feels like she People could do whatever they want to her, but when she claps back, then all of a sudden she went way too far. So Cynthia's like, well, if Porsha would have brought up your mom, I would have defended you. Shut the fuck up, Cynthia, because you're lying. You're lying. No, you would not have. And so Shamea was like, but she did say something about my mom and nobody called and checked on me. I want you to defend me to the world. And so Cynthia in her confessional was like, you know, she thought they recently got past it, what happened last year. And she was like, she's not going to, obviously Shamea is not going to let it go. And it's starting to make her feel uncomfortable because she's like a dog with a bone. Cynthia's starting to bug the fuck out of me. When it comes down to her in this word uncomfortable, you did it with Pinky when it came down to her delivery and making the girls uncomfortable and all of this. And suddenly Shamea's making you uncomfortable too. Just like I said yesterday in the panel, Cynthia, you have experienced way worse than this on the show. Way worse than this on the show. And I will stand firm in what I say as far as if you should be uncomfortable by anybody in this group, it should be Porsha. Because she's violent, she's aggressive, she'll assault you, and y'all even got into a little kicking session. Like, what do you mean? Out of all the people to be uncomfortable with, it should be Porsha because she's unpredictable. And even outside of this show, she had her own spinoff and was jumping on bitches, or trying to at least. So it's like, come on now. You doing too much. And Cynthia, this season is so motherfucking whack. Like, you could never be the mother of this show because you don't know how to be neutral. You don't know how to hold people accountable at all. And it seems like the only person that you're trying to hold accountable are people outside of this little group that you got with Porsha. You can say what you want to say to Shamea. You can say what you want to say to Pinky. But when it comes down to holding other people accountable, i.e., Porsha, you don't have shit to fucking say. You're very biased. And so we see Porsha now gets on the phone with Lauren. And she's telling Lauren that the trip is great and everything has been a good vibe, even down to how she's interacting with Shamea. She said that they have been in their own spaces. And she thought that Shamea was doing the same. But at dinner, she mentions Pilar not being able to be around her and Gerald. And so that has her like, bitch, what are you talking about? Okay, so she was like, the girls already told me that Shamea has been using Pilar for clout. Now, in her confessional, she's saying that off camera, Shamea will gloat to Cynthia saying, oh, it's fine that me and her aren't cool. I still get to spend time with PJ. And then production shows a flashback of what Cynthia actually said. And Cynthia says she still has a relationship with Dennis because that's the only way she gets to see Pilar. Of course, this is another example of Porsha putting 20 on 10. And so she's saying, if you're not cool with someone, you don't want your kids around them. She then says, it's not like I'm trying to go pick up her kids. Don't use my baby as a flex. I feel like that was taken out of context when it comes down to the whole Shamea and being around Pilar situation. I think that Shamea just loves kids, especially with her being in the delivery room when Pilar was born, on top of them having a friendship and their children having a relationship. She's connected to her, and that happens a lot. I see that in my personal life as well, where, you know, friendships die, but the kids are still around, or, you know, people are struggling with no longer being in the parents' life, but they still want to be in the kids' life. Like, I see those things happen. And so I don't think that there was any ill intent or that Shamea was trying to get any type of clout off of Pilar, because, I mean, what would she gain? Like, it's not like we see Shamea posting Pilar online with the girls playing and all of that. Like, I don't see any of that. Granted, I don't follow them either, but they also do pop up on my timeline from time to time. And I don't see those things. I just feel like this is somebody that she had a relationship with, she has a relationship with. And so it's like, yeah, even though I'm not cool with her, at least I still get to see PJ. I don't see anything wrong with that. But also make it very clear, there is nothing wrong with Porsha not wanting her daughter over Shamea's house anymore, especially with the things that Shamea has to say about her mother, about her grandmother, and all those things. Like, yeah, Pilar doesn't need to be in that environment. So I understand where Porsha is coming from, but I also don't feel like Shamea is trying to gain some type of attention off of Porsha's daughter that we barely even see talk. Like, what are you talking about? Girl, like, get the fuck out of here, Porsha. She just literally be saying shit. Then Porsha tells Lauren about Shamea saying that her mom was trying to sleep with her dad who never had teeth. Now I ain't never had teeth. But Lauren is like, I wouldn't repeat that in front of everybody. A line was crossed. What you mean you wouldn't repeat that in front of everybody? Why? But Lauren was like, that was personal and it wasn't true. Hey, Lauren, Diana is not your mama, or Diane is not your mama. So you don't know what she been up to prior to you, whatever. But P said that, look, I'm reading after my notes. Porsha is still saying that Shamia's mom did sleep with her uncle. Listen, again, I don't believe that. We've seen time and time again Porsha just throwing stuff out there because she's losing an argument or because somebody is hot on her tail, whatever it is. She gonna just throw something out there. I don't believe her, but at the same time, you just never know. Because again, I wasn't there. So Porsha is saying the high road is beyond her at this point, and she thinks that Shamia is destiny swapping. Hey, what the fuck are you talking about? Porsha, what are you... I'm with T when he said last night on the panel that Porsha needs to get off TikTok. Yeah, because, girl, you don't know nothing about no damn destiny swapping. And to be honest, I didn't know nothing about it either until, you know, conspiracy started to go around, the Epstein files and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, but, you know, I do, as a girl who does have her tinfoil hat on these days, I'm pretty, you know, tapped in with that type of talk. However, what is Shamia destiny swapping when it comes down to you? Okay? Now, granted, I know that I'm not going to act like they don't see things in each other that they might secretly want. You know, maybe Porsha wants the marriage, the lifestyle that Shamia has. Maybe Shamia wants the attention, notoriety, whatever that Porsha has. The friend group, the charisma, whatever that Porsha has. Well, child, I say personality. Let me say that instead of charisma. But, you know, there may be things that each other want from each other, but destiny swapping is a major stretch. Like, girl, get the fuck out of here, Porsha. Anyway, let's move on from that. I truly don't care about this cemetery scene, so really I don't have anything to say about it. We get to Porsha's spa day. Baby, it was not a spa. It was a hot tub in a sauna in the backyard. I really thought that they was going to go to a hidden room that had a full staff and some massage tables and all of this. It was none of that. And so, yeah, that was deaded very quick. And so the ladies are gathered around eating. And it's Drew, Kay, Pinky, Porsha, and Angela. Pinky brings up how much fun they had the night before, and Drew takes his opportunity to thank Kay for showing up for her and showing her love with her music. It meant a lot to her. And so Kay, in her confessional, said that she has her issues with Drew, but she felt like it wasn't right to basically leave her out because she doesn't live in hate. Sometimes, you know, I do see myself in Kay just a smidge, just as far as, like, you know, we share the same sign. I feel bad for people very quick. I don't like the feeling of seeing people left out and stuff. So I could relate to her in that instance. Pinky brings up Porsha leaving the club early. And Porsha said that she hadn't had time to digest everything that happened between her and Shamia. She said that Shamia was unpredictable. And in her confessional, she brings up how close they were at, you know, at one point or whatever, they were at each other's births and all of this stuff. So she just felt like all of this came out of nowhere. She said she let her guard down, but in the middle of her being open, Shamia tried to trigger her. Where did you let your guard down when it came to Shamia? You're just saying anything. And so Drew wants to know what Kay and Pinky think of Shamia, being that they are new to the group. I was kind of annoyed with this question because it's like, what are you trying to do here, Drew? You trying to, y'all trying to gain more people over to y'all side? Like, the fuck? And why are you asking them that, knowing that they hang around Shamia? They have their opinions and they have their opinions. Like, it just is what it is. Like, it felt like that question was loaded with her trying to, you know, start the process of getting them over to their side. But Pinky says that she's seen a change in Shamia, and she asked her when they were at the airport if she was ready for the trip. Shamia said that I'm ready for whatever is ready for me. So the girls are like, oh my gosh, that's energy, you know, all this extra stuff. But I feel like if she's saying that, okay, yeah, because she's at odds with Angela, at odds with Drew, at odds with Porsha. She is on the rocks with Kay. So I think she's just like, yeah, I'm ready for whatever. You gotta stay ready. That doesn't necessarily mean she's gonna pop shit off, in which we already seen that she was. Like, I'm not gonna act like Shamea hasn't been, starting shit, because yes, we seen her acting weird at the damn at the store where they got the sashes made, and her feeling some type of way about Porsha and Kelly making up. So yes, Shamea has been moving weirdly, I would say that. But if she want to be prepared and, keeping her head on the swivel, I don't see anything wrong with that. So Kay said that she was shocked because Shamea is hurt by the loss of the friendship that she has with Porsha. And Shamea actually has cried to her about it. And Porsha said, if you wanted us to be back, we were on our way. When and where? When and where was Shamea and Porsha on their way back to each other here on season 17? We've never seen that. We have yet to see that because it has not happened. So Kay in her confessional says that Porsha is lying. She said, me and Porsha has had several conversations and she never mentioned making amends with Shamea. Exactly. Clock her, because girl, you're lying. And I wish that Kay would have said that in person, because nobody has seen this point for them. And then, not to mention, we have not seen them talk this season. The only time that we've really seen Porsha and Shamea have some type of interaction that could lead to something promising was Pinky's skating party, when they was dancing together and all of that. I think that was the only time where we seen them actually enjoying each other and interacting with each other. But Porsha says that she feels Shamea hates her, and said that Shamea could have gotten their relationship back here in Switzerland. Bitch, don't even know where she at, girl, because you're in Scotland. I said, y'all don't even talk again, so you're lying. Now we see Shamea and Kelly having a side conversation down at the cemetery, and Kelly wants to know how Shamea felt about the conversation that they had on the way there. And Shamea said that it was easier for her to apologize, even if she felt like she was wrong. She wasn't wrong. Why are you apologizing if you felt like you wasn't wrong? Yeah, that does feed into your people-pleasing personality. I'm not apologizing if I don't feel like I'm wrong, especially if I feel like I'm always apologizing. And if you're going to apologize, I feel like you should apologize to what you do feel like you did wrong. Because just giving an apology, girl, you could save it because you didn't mean it. But she said that she found peace in being truthful, even if it hurts people's feelings. That's why you need to stand on what you say and not apologize. So Kelly, in her confessional, is saying that she believes that the girls are taking on Porsha's beef. Very reminiscent to what Shamea was doing last year. We talked about this in the panel. Y'all make sure that y'all go and watch last night's episode. But we talked about this in the panel, and I mentioned how in our reality, the tables have turned on Shamea. Shamea was Porsha's lapdog and taking on Porsha's beef last year. And yes, now Porsha is on good terms with Drew and whoever else she was beefing with at the time. And it's making you look foolish because now, Shamea, you're on the other end of it where you're being isolated, iced out, and you're not close with your best friend, the one that you were defending and, being the lapdog for last year. She's moved on and mended those friendships, and you're now on the outs and she's not even talking to you. So, yeah, now you get to see a bit of what you were doing when it came down to how you were so loyal to Porsha, because now you have three new lapdogs for Porsha, and that is Angela, Drew, and Cynthia. They've taken your spot, and she was beefing with some of them last year. Yeah, okay. That's why you need to stay in your lane. That's why I said Shamea really fucked up last year when she took it because Busy was saying that it's okay to defend your friends. That's what friends do. Absolutely. I said, but the thing that messed Shamea up for me is when she went and got Ralph. Like, you did all of that, again, only for Porsha to make up with Drew, put her back on payroll for Go Naked here, and now have Drew in her lap and kick your ass onto the ground. Like, girl, dumb. Anyway, Kelly, again, in her confessional, said that people aren't looking at the facts. They're looking at the OGs who have been here, knowing that they have a lying history. Kelly feels like the ladies have been running with that, and that bothers her. That is very true. They want to be accepted by Porsha, by the OGs. despite the things that she has said about them or done to them or whatever, they still want to be accepted by them. Again, that even goes back to Potomac. When you see the top dogs or the OGs in the group, the new girls want to be accepted by them. So much so that they will put up with stuff, put energy towards someone else when it really was for an OG. We already see how, again, the ladies want to be accepted by Giselle so bad. Candace, Monique, even as late as or as recent as Angel. These girls want to be friends with them, and by any means. It's just like, no, at the end of the day, bitch, I'm here. We on the same playing field, bitch. Like, what's up? If you do something that I don't like, I'm going to speak on it. I'm not about to kiss your ass. And I wish that everybody had that mentality, but they clearly don't. So everybody is back at the house, and they're preparing for Phaedra's birthday dinner. Why is everybody not wearing the sashes that Porsha paid for? I was confused. Angela, who's that? Angela, Drew, and somebody else. It was only like a good 3 girls who was wearing sash, and Pinky. I said, okay, girl. Oh, Shamia was wearing hers. There was a few people that was wearing theirs, but I'm just like, okay. Cynthia tells the girls about the conversation that they had with Shamia during their day trip, and she said that Shamia feels like she can't win for losing. And Cynthia said, well, she wanted to make it clear that she doesn't have any issues with Shamia. You say that, Cynthia, but your actions scream otherwise. Again, you are very much so Team Porsha, and if you just stand in that, then maybe I could respect you a little more, but I don't see it for you. So Kay is like, yeah, see, the thing is she doesn't want anybody to feel bullied or alone. And so all the girls are there with the exception of Phaedra and Porsha. Now, Porsha comes in and listen, Porsha gonna always look good, okay? Hair always gonna be good. Outfit always gonna be good. Makeup always gonna be good. She gonna always serve a look. So the ladies are of course praising her for her outfit. I did think it was kind of odd that she was wearing white and it's not your party. Okay, it's giving the city. Try to just caught up on that boring ass show, but it was something to watch. But yeah, you wearing white when it's not even your party, but you know, whatever. She looked good. I found it very odd that she came in hovering over Shamia's chair. Like, to me, I felt like there was a sign of dominance, and you're actively trying to make Shamia uncomfortable. Was I the only one who peeped out? I said, girl, not you sitting over her now. Okay, watch out. Back up, actually. So everybody has gathered around the table to get this dinner started. And so Phaedra is saying that she was grateful for the group. You know, she started off in 2009 with Cynthia, which leads to Cynthia having a speech. She said that she started this journey with Phaedra, and she always felt like there was a bond between them, even though it was a slow burn. Girl, what are you talking about? She said that she respects Phaedra's resilience. Seeing her go through a lot makes her smile watching her soar. Phaedra and Phaedra and Cynthia don't really have much of a relationship. Like, if you go back to the history of RHOA in its prime, they had more conflict than anything. Not saying that they were always beefing, but it was just like, y'all wasn't even really close or like that. Like, girl, okay, you just being nice or whatever. So Porsha gives a speech, and she said, we've been through so much together. We have the best of memories. The things that I went through silently, and I've never needed someone. Like, I don't know what the fuck she was saying, because I felt like I was putting down everything that she said word for word, and I'm like, some of these sentences just don't gel. She said, I've needed someone when I could not call anybody. Obviously, that was a dig at Shamia. She said, how you show through? You have been such a lovely friend. Okay. In her confessional, Shamia is like, what, y'all best friends now? Like, the bitch wasn't even at your wedding. Exactly. So Porsha continues and says, I know that we have had bumps. It didn't take long, deep, and we come right back together. Like, Porsha, what are you saying? You're saying a whole bunch of shit. Like, you're saying a whole bunch of bullshit. And you're laying it on thick as fuck so you can get Shamia to feel in some type of way. These are obvious digs that you have towards Shamia and trying to make it seem like she doesn't matter. Just like Angela said in her confessional. Kelly also notes that this is very calculated. Like, if you look online, Phaedra and Porsha don't even hang out together. And then that was a clear sign. Like, we already knew that they don't hang together because she hasn't seen Aiden in a very long time. And when she went to her house to eat food or whatever, she was like, oh my gosh, he's gotten so big. And, you know, we know y'all don't hang around each other. Porsha had never been to her house up until this season and everything. Y'all don't hang together. This is something that y'all doing for the cameras. So Porsha then gives Phaedra with a proclamation to be the lady of Glen. Baby, it's not even Googleable. Like, what is this role? Where did you get this from? Whose idea was this? And so the ladies want to know, how was the experience at the cemetery? And Kay is like, has anybody ever been close to death? And so some of the ladies were like, yeah. And Kay gets emotional talking about her surgeries and how, you know, she was told, or her mother was told, that she might not make it out. Okay. She mentions the 13 silicone surgeries and, you know, it made her see things differently. She prayed and pleaded to stay here on this earth. And I said, girl, energy killer, vibe killer. You talking all this shit about crying and all it is, but yet you still want more work. Get out my face with this bullshit. I don't care. Like, I do not care. I'm not even trying to sound harsh, but I'm just saying, like, that's contradicting as fuck. You're still trying to get work done to improve your appearance, and that's sick. Again, you need therapy. So Drew begins to cry because it makes her think about how she hasn't visited her dad's grave since he passed, and she walks off. I thought it was very dramatic that Porsha runs down the hall after her. Like, girl, what is this? Again, I feel like that was her doing it up for the cameras again and probably trying to piss Shamia off. So speaking of Shamia, she's asking, you know, Kay, hey, last night was rough. I hated that I made people feel like they had to pick a side. That's not what it's about. And so Kay wanted to know what made you say what you said to Porsha. Shamia said that it was festering for a while. And Pinky is like, in her confessional, Shamia is a professional apologist. Like, say what you mean and mean what you say. You said it and you meant it. And she was like, I don't want you to make a long-ass YouTube apology either. I said facts, Pinky, because, girl, we don't want to hear that shit. The apology that she gave last year on her channel was a whole bunch of BS because she was still on BS. And then I don't want to hear all of that again. So then you got Kelly in her confessional saying, stop apologizing. Who cares? Stand on business. Kelly, you need to stand on class a little bit, because why was you lifting your legs up to the point of your ass crack showing? Like, that was too much. Kelly be doing too much. She be doing too much. Like, girl, calm all that shit down. So Porsha comes back to the table, and Phaedra and Pinky is like, oh yeah, we was talking about last night. Y'all tried real hard to get her to talk about what happened between her and Shamia the night before. Neither one of them, Porsha or Shamia, grabbed the bait. Porsha said, okay, exactly. That was it. Y'all really wanted to have some type of conversation, and I don't understand why y'all wanted to at the time anyway, because it's just not that. Y'all need to wait till y'all get back to the States or whatever it is that y'all need to do to hold on, because I don't know. This Scotland trip was boring. It was. It could have been left at home. They could have went somewhere else. They could have did something else. I don't know, but it was boring as fuck. This episode was boring. I mean, it did have some interesting things to talk about. It did. I'll give it that. But this Porsha and Shamia thing is tired. Y'all are not friends. I don't know how it's going to go with them going back home. I don't know, but we'll see. Again, Porsha has her flunkies, and it seems like they're very comfortable with where they are. I'm extremely disappointed in Cynthia. It's giving loser, honestly. Shamia, girl, yeah, stop fucking apologizing, stand firm in your word, and you're not innocent when it comes down to everything either. Porsha, you're a liar, saying people clout chasing off of your daughter and all this. Girl, okay, who else? That's all I got. Shit, let me leave. Not let me leave. I got a few more minutes before I gotta clock into work, and I want to enjoy those. Let's get down in the comments and talk, y'all. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Currently, I am 11 subscribers away from 7K. So make sure that y'all like, subscribe if y'all like the content. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.